I hope they are both on. Welcome to the Today-ish show with James and Dani. I'm your host, James Lee.
Hello, everybody, and I'm Dani Love. I almost forgot a microphone, but for those of you that have been with us, you know I probably don't need one, but I have it, so turn down your volume.
Yes, let us know if the mics are working.
Where's my chat?
You can pull up the chat right there with if you hover over the screen.
Here?
No. There's like a comment box looking icon.
That's right.
Boom. There it is.
Hello, everybody. How are you? Good to see you guys. Tate, always in here. The last Robus, or I did this last time.
The last Robespierre.
Spear. Okay. Anyways, how's everybody doing? Thank you guys so much for being here. Checking in SAR. Don't be a Joe. That is a Matt Kim fan, right?
Yeah.
Which I didn't know what any of that meant, but I will say, and you'll be happy about this, Matt Kim is still my favorite guest we've ever had.
Wow. Big shout out to Matt Kim. No, he's a real truth teller out there. Never afraid to say what he thinks. Never afraid to go against the grain, upset some people at the very top of the food chain.
Honestly, that's not even for me why I like him. I like him as a person. I just think he's a cool dude. Like, we hung out and he's just, I just like his personality, his demeanor. He's a nice person. So does that mean I'm a SAR? What does SAR mean?
Well, that's a long story. I'm not going to be the one to explain SAR.
Okay.
You got to go to Matt Kim for that. Thank you everybody for coming in the chat. Drop in where you're coming in from. Thank you so much to the Patreon supporters here we have today, and I think we're going to spend a lot of time just diving into what's going on over there in Switzerland at Davos, WEF 2026 agenda.
Meeting, summit. It's not their agenda.
Sure.
But for the people that know me, I've been going after the WEF since I started online, but I've been following them for many, many years, since about 2018 when they came out with that, famous line, "You will own nothing and be happy," which we're going to play in a second. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the WEF, it's the World Economic Forum. It's run by a group of global elites that basically want to dictate the way that different democracies around the world function. And there are some things that you could agree with, but overwhelmingly for me, and as an American and someone that really prioritizes and values freedom, I think they're the bad guys. And Klaus Schwab, the founder of the organization, he's the one that has that, accent where he's like, "You will own nothing and be happy, eat the bugs." He stepped down as the guy running the whole entire organization last year, but he's still doing it behind the scenes. And he is just like your real world villain. He looks like it, the way he dresses, the way he talks. It's scary.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the WEF, maybe for some of the same reasons, but maybe some different reasons. I just don't like the fact that we have unelected, for the most part, a lot of those people who are speaking at these conferences are unelected people in various roles, whether, usually very high up in the business world, and they're kind of dictating what they want. And it was their goal. They talked about this, specifically Klaus Schwab, right? That guy, he said, we're infiltrating governments. Yeah. So the whole point was to groom people into positions of leadership throughout the entire world. That was their entire thing. And they've done it pretty successfully, I would say.
Well, and that's exactly why it makes sense that he's very good friends with the Soros family, which they do the exact same thing through NGOs and funding elections at the, small time level to make sure their people get in. And so, yeah. And speaking of that, there's the No Kings against Trump, that movement, no kings. And a lot of people believe that that's funded by the Soros. And so the Soros family, Alex Soros, is now kind of taken over for George. And so when President Trump arrived in Switzerland, someone, we don't know who, had put up in the mountains, if you want to show this, a no king sign in the snowy mountains of Switzerland. And I just thought that was so funny because
Europe has a bunch of kings.
Europe has a bunch of actual kings that wear crowns, but they're like, no kings, Trump. And so anyways, of course, I thought that was hilarious.
Well, I mean, it is a bit ironic. Although I will say that none of the kings in Europe, from my understanding, have any power. They're just ceremonial figureheads of country, like the Danish king and obviously the British royalty.
Well,
France, does France have a king? I don't know.
The British, well, no, that would be Macron.
Oh.
Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, who showed up at the WEF wearing sunglasses.
Oh.
And, you know, we watched him last year get smacked around by his wife, Brigitte Macron, who we all basically know now because of Candace Owens, was born with some balls. And
allegedly, come on.
And now he showed up wearing these sunglasses, and you know, you have to give it to President Trump because he is known for being hilarious. He addressed it. You can see here below is Macron, and then and then this is what Trump said about it on the world stage in front of all of the leaders. Just does not care.
Emmanuel Macron, I watched him yesterday with those beautiful sunglasses. What the hell happened? Emmanuel Macron.
That's it.
So wait, so what was the excuse? I think I read somewhere that he said that he had some kind of eye situation.
Yeah, he had a black eye from Brigitte backhanding him back into place.
No, that wasn't the official reason. I don't know what it was.
That's official.
Wait, hold on. Emmanuel Macron.
Brigitte was like, "Don't you dare talk about my penis." She got him on both sides. She did a little 1-2.
Oh, but now they're saying that the makers of Macron sunglasses have been deluged with demand. Apparently, people buying the shades that are made by Maison Henri Julien to cover up a burst blood vessel.
Yeah, well, we know how you get a burst blood vessel. You get popped in the eye.
I don't know. But in that speech, okay, so speaking of Trump in a speech, I think one of the big topics that people were very, very anxious to hear about was Greenland. What was Trump going to do with Greenland?
And he announced there that the United States would not take any military action.
Well, he said, first, okay, so I don't know if we have this clip. Hopefully we have it, because he talked about how people said he was going to use force. He's like, I'm not going to use force. Do we have that clip?
I don't know if we do, but we're so far past that, it really doesn't matter at this point. The negotiations.
No force, we do. It's in this, what is that? E5.
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 But I will say, after he announced no force, the markets went way up because it eased a lot of tensions. People obviously, no matter who you are, nobody wants a war, nobody wants an invasion. And, you know, everybody was panicking saying, he's going to invade. And of course, that did not happen. So here this is.
And we never got anything. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that. Okay? Now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force. We never asked for anything.
All right, so that was...
And we never got anything.
That was Trump being very Trump-like. He's like, a lot of people thought I would use force, but I'm not going to use force. And so so there's a bit of a, I think, split in terms of interpretation on the deal, right? Because Trump then announced that a deal, they had come to an agreement of a future framework, something along those lines. That's what was announced, that he had gone in and he said, we have a framework for a future deal.
Yes.
That is what was said.
So the New York Times reported on what this deal is. Here's a summary of it. The United States will have small pockets of land inside of Greenland. The U.S. will be involved in Greenland's mineral rights. Russia and China must not step in at any cost. The U.S. will have the Golden Dome system will be installed there, and it's going to be like a part of the Golden Dome. That's just going to be like one of the locations, and opens door to U.S.-backed infrastructure investment. And so people were worried, oh my God, what about the Greenlanders? President, we're not going to have anything to do with that. We went in, we got exactly what we wanted, and it's not going to hurt anybody. Greenland is a huge, massive area of ice that was unused. We're getting what we want, the United States. It was diplomatically done. There was no force used. So I don't really see what the problem is. The EU was on board.
Well, okay, so the other so like, what makes that any different than what was already on the table? They already said you could do all of that.
Well, there must be another reason, right?
No, I don't. What do you mean another reason? Because they already said all of those things that was pointed out there. The small pockets of land to do the military base.
To your point, if nothing's changed except that Trump gets to say that he made this happen, then why does it matter?
But it was already on the table, this deal, right?
Right. So why does it matter if nothing changes?
So it doesn't sound like, why does it matter? Okay, so I don't know if this deal includes like a transfer of ownership. I don't know if under Greenland it's still going to be Denmark or Greenland under Denmark. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that's part of the deal. If it is part of the deal, if the U.S., if we're still saying, hey, nothing's going to happen to the Greenlanders, we're just basically, instead of it saying Greenland parentheses Denmark, it's going to say Greenland parentheses U.S. We're not getting involved in their governmental, whatever policies that they're trying to pass from a local level. We're not getting involved with it. We just want some parcels of land to do whatever it is, putting in AI, putting in military bases. I think, okay, here's my potential issue with this is that we already so this kind of upends a little bit of that like UN order that was established after World War II, in that people who live on the land have self-determination of their country, meaning that they should choose who runs their government, which wasn't happening in Greenland anyways. It was a territory of Denmark, so they were fine. And I think the Greenlanders were fine with that. Yeah, they didn't have any. But that goes against what you just said. No, but I'm saying the Greenlanders said basically they're okay with their current setup. Okay, and based on the framework for the deal, it won't change. So what's the problem? I'm saying because we don't know exactly what this framework looks like. It hasn't been officially announced what it looks like. That's what I was saying is parentheses Denmark or parentheses But if US. Everything stays the same, like you said, why does it matter what the title is? It matters. Well, I'm not saying it matters what the title, but I think that's an important part of the deal, the title, like who owns Greenland. But I'm just making the point, if everything stays the same, why does the title matter? The title matters because of the self-determination aspect of what we'd established after World War II, is that we're not going to do this thing where we buy land. You know, because you were talking about how, I think in the last episode, this has been done many times. We purchased Alaska, we purchased Hawaii, Louisiana purchased. Yeah, and that was like before World War II, this kind of more like, I don't know, cooperation between all of the governments through the United Nations, saying we're not going to just like buy people's lands and the people living there have no say over it. I think that is the main difference. You can't just, like we did a purchase in Mexico, the Gadsden purchase for like some strip of land in Arizona, California now. That, if it were to go through today, I think that would be a much bigger deal, because it's like, okay, that area of people, like, do they want to be part of Mexico? Do they want to be part of the United States? Here, it's like Greenland, do they want to be part of Denmark? Do they want to be a part of the United States? I think that is ultimately, I think it's something just to keep in mind when we discuss these things, because I think this is what is on this deal here. It seems like it was already on the table before. So like to claim this as a great victory, I mean, I think that's like more of a Trump PR spin. I disagree. President Trump had said before there were negotiations going on with Marco Rubio, we were going to take over the whole entire territory. We were going to be paying their citizens $100,000 to join the United States, right? And this is the typical art of the deal that he used before. He used it with TikTok, he's done it with the tariffs, and now he's done it with Greenland. This is something that he does traditionally in his negotiations. And to me, if
it's Greenland, United States, or Greenland, Denmark, and nothing really changes except that the United States has ownership over small pockets of land in Greenland to do what we want with it, which seem to be primarily defense mechanisms like the Golden Dome and et cetera, then I don't really see what the problem is, and I don't really see why anybody would have a problem with it. But I think that when it comes to what Trump did and how this is, Trump's typical negotiation style, everybody's talking about that. People thought it was going to be way worse. They thought he was going to use force. Everybody was panicking about that. Of course, he had said, we might send troops, but he didn't. And this is a good
But what I don't get is what's the
that.
difference, though? It's like these things that he has, the small pockets of land for defense, these things were okayed already.
Well,
we already
I'll tell you
had
what the difference is.
So, like,
and
what did he get beyond what we had gotten before?
We are going to have access to mineral rights, which we did not have before. So that's a really big deal. There are a lot of untapped rare earth minerals under the ice in Greenland. And China is number one at rare earth minerals. The United States has rare earth minerals, but China's number one at processing them. And so you need rare earth minerals for all of the batteries, all of the technology, all of the AI, all of the data infrastructures. So that makes us more independent as a country. We don't have to rely on another country. Now we have those rare earth minerals a part of
And it's cool
Greenland.
just to go take the rare earth minerals.
We're not taking it. We're purchasing them in a diplomatic negotiation.
With the
EU support now and NATO support. So I really don't see the issue.
I think it wouldn't have been an issue in the year like 1900, because that's kind of how the world ran back in the days, where you just kind of take whatever you can and whoever's the most powerful.
How far back do you want to go in history to talk about different civilizations taking over land?
Well, no, that's always how it's done since the beginning of time. It's always been how it worked. But I guess what I'm pointing out is what we're essentially going back to is, all right, let's throw everything else out after World War II. We're going to go back to the way things were prior to the World Wars and say whoever's the most powerful group can like jockey and take land from different territories. If we want certain resources, we'll just go get it.
I mean, look, the United States wanting Greenland is not something new. It started with Andrew Jackson in 1867. The United States has been talking about taking over Greenland for 161 years. Kennedy talked about it. Post-World War talked about it. Post-Cold War talked about it. President Trump talked about it in 2019. Obama and Clinton both, established the different military orders in Greenland, where you're saying like basically nothing would change. They're the ones that negotiated that. So this isn't anything new. I'm not
saying it's new. I'm just saying that there's something morally bankrupt about this. That's all I'm saying.
If we were displacing the people in Greenland, if we were using military force, I would totally agree with you. But to me, if the United States is purchasing territory that's completely unused and uninhabited that we already have access to, but it's giving us more access to rare earth minerals and more control over making sure that the United States and our allies in NATO are well protected and have better security against our biggest adversaries, I don't see what the problem is.
Look, I don't have a problem with alliances and protection and things like that. I think it's more so, I don't know, we have to wait until what the deal actually is to then be able to say whether or not this is a good deal or a bad deal. It's just that it's sort of like ignoring the people who live in Greenland.
But if they're not affected, then how is it ignoring them? If we're just
you're saying that they're not affected, right? They could feel that they're being affected because there's going to be things being built that they don't want to be. I mean,
now let me ask you a question. If it remains Greenland parentheses Denmark, then how do you feel about it?
Well, so I would ask the people of Greenland, because right now we have, to use like an analogy, we have a military base right now in Okinawa in Japan.
We have military bases everywhere in the world.
And the people in Okinawa have protested that base. Basically, it's causing all kinds of problems. There's pollution problems. There's the area surrounding. They have all kinds of issues that they're not happy with. The local population, like they don't want this military base here. And that's kind of what I'm pointing out is, do people of Greenland even want this? Like, for example, if the AI people say, we're going to put in the data center in your backyard, it's not really going to impact you at all. It's going to be all good. We said it was going to be all good. Are you okay with that just because they're a more powerful force because you can't stop them from coming in and they're telling you, oh, no, you won't be impacted. You still own your house. All good. We're just going to put a data center in your backyard.
I mean, look,
no
do the
worries.
people in the UK want restriction on freedom of speech?
No, probably not.
I mean, this type of stuff is happening all over the world. The reality is that us plebes don't have a say in what the world leaders are doing. The UK has freedom of speech completely restricted. They don't have any access. They're getting arrested for retweeting memes. We have way bigger problems. If the Greenlanders are unaffected, they continue to get their free health care. They stay under the Denmark rule, and the United States is taking unused land that's completely isolated from any other population. To me, there's no human rights issue. There's no issue at all.
Okay. I mean, that's
my opinion.
And that's fine. And I'm just giving a different opinion, saying even if those things are true, there's something backward about these kinds of procedures that we're currently engaged in, is all I'm saying.
Interesting.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like it's the same type of procedures that different empires and democracies have used throughout civilization, whether you're talking about the Byzantine Empire, whether you're talking about the Roman Empire, whether you're talking about modern day France, Christopher Columbus. I mean, it's been going on forever.
I know it's been going on forever, but we've tried to, I guess what I'm saying is we've tried to stop that from happening in the last, 100 years, roughly 80 years. And what this is kind of doing is setting in motion a new world order, if I may, of let's go back to that. Let's jockey for positions. Let's ignore self-determination of populations. Let's say China gets real powerful. They want to take an island from us that we currently have. Let's say they do it, they negotiate, and all of a sudden now they're Chinese.
Well, look, when you talk about China and we're talking about rare earth minerals, China has basically taken over many parts of Africa. Maybe they don't own it, but they're buying up and renting the land in long-term leases to mine their rare earth minerals for extremely cheap. We're basically doing the exact same thing, except it's not a lease that ends in 99 years.
Yeah. So I think China's doing it through like an economic investment type of way.
And how is the United States any different with Greenland?
I mean, I would have to see the deal and and also in a lot of those countries, the leadership of those countries for China, they welcome the investment. And right now, I don't know. I haven't heard anything from the Greenlanders saying that, yes, we would love for this to be happening in our country.
I'm just saying, if you look at the lithium mining that's going on in Africa, there's a real human rights issue.
I think there is a real human rights issue, and that's up to their governments to take care of, to listen to the people and say, we don't want these economic deals that you've made with the Chinese. We don't want to mine these things.
So I just feel like if it's up to those governments, then it's up to Denmark's government, and they're making a deal.
Yeah. Well, look, so we'll have to, I think we should see how this deal is actually drawn up, because we don't have any information on the actual deal itself.
Well, that's the framework of the deal.
So I'm just telling there's two sides to this. I think there's one side that say this is a great victory. Another side is like, this is basically what we have. You're saying, okay, there's more things thrown in. Let's see what happens. I'm just putting out a counter to sort of the messaging from the White House saying this is so awesome. I'm saying there's some things that we should think about in terms of, is this the way we want to conduct business? That's always, I'm trying to stay principled, right? If somebody wanted to do this to me,
I just don't feel like there's a better way to conduct business if you're negotiating without military force and you have everybody, including your allies, on board. So that's my only point.
Well, like
I said, if he would have taken military force, if he'd be displacing the Greenlanders, I would be on your side. But that's not happening as of now.
Okay. So, I guess it's not happening as of now. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
It seems temperamental. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that is part of the strategy. I don't know. But if it goes fine and there's no major disruption and it is kind of how it is, okay. But I'm just pointing out that I have reservations about this.
Well, we will just have to wait and see how that goes. But the people in Congress are very happy about this. I don't know if you saw. They are cutting a cake.
See, that looks like...
They're cutting a cake of Greenland with with the United States flag on it. So they're excited. But here's the thing: is that
doesn't that just show like, okay, we're taking it over right there?
Well, they always do this. They always do this, right? Because no matter what, President Trump, if you want to X out of this, is considering this a big win for the United States because we're getting everything they want. And this is what a lot of the newscasters are saying, that this is typical Trump. He does this with many different deals. You can watch this. Oops, gotta rewind.
Kind of classic Trump, wasn't it? I mean, Trump wants something, and then he asks for 10 times that, and the other side flips out, and they go back and forth and go back and forth. It becomes a huge news story. Finally, they make an offer. He agrees to it, and it's kind of what they could have gotten in the first place.
And says they're wonderful people and happy to work with them, and suddenly it's this dismount that we could predict by how it's set up at the beginning.
Yes, and the other side's happy because they think they dodged a bullet. So it's just classic Trump.
Yeah.
Thought about it. I have to say, this was kind of classic Trump,
Maybe it's
wasn't
classic Trump. He's using force or the threat of force to get what he wants, but ultimately he's not going to go there. He's just trying to position himself on the negotiation table from a point of strength, so to speak, an advantageous position. That'd be good. I mean, we don't want any bombs dropping,
Yes. So speaking of the WEF, getting back to everything else that went on in Davos, I want to remind people the 8 predictions for the world video that the World Economic Forum put out in 2018. A lot of people think that this was 2020, but the "You Will Own Nothing and Be Happy" is actually from this video. This is where it originated from. You can see here the World Economic Forum emblem. So this is what the global elites wanted for the world by 2030. Let's play this. You will own nothing and be happy.
The drone deliveries.
The U.S. won't be the world's leading superpower. A handful of countries will dominate, like BRICS. You won't die waiting for an organ donor.
That's not bad, right?
We won't transplant organs, we'll print new ones instead. You'll eat much less meat. An occasional treat, not a staple, for the good of the environment and our health.
But they're still gonna be
1 billion people will be displaced by climate change. We'll have to do a better job at welcoming and integrating refugees. This is an open borders policy. Polluters will have to pay to emit carbon dioxide. There will be a global price on carbon. This will help make fossil fuels history. Preparing to go to Mars. Katy Perry.
by 2030.
This is by 2030. Western values will have been tested to the breaking point.
Well, we are testing that to the breaking point, that's for sure. Must not be forgotten. I mean, that's
not bad.
Not bad.
That's the only thing.
That's not bad.
So far. I mean, do you want a printed kidney?
I don't know. So, because if it's going to be helping save people's lives, I don't know. Like, what's the downside of... I mean, it's human engineering. It's like a transhumanist thing that I'm kind of uncomfortable with that.
Yeah.
But from a scientific perspective, go for it, I guess. I don't know.
It's an interesting thing because, like, my grandpa, who's since passed, the one that we called an OG on here, which I loved, he had a pacemaker since he was like 50. He lived to 88. And, of course, that's a machine in his heart that makes sure if it stops, it restarts. So, in a way, we've kind of been using different technologies to make ourselves live longer for a period of time. But for some reason, the 3D printing like a liver, I just feel like a little weird about. I mean, and when you look at, like, they've tried so many times to take pig hearts and do heart transplants, and you'll see these news articles all the time. They're like, oh my gosh, the pig heart has worked, the person's alive for 2 weeks, and then they always die.
Yeah, they haven't figured it out yet.
So then I'm like, well, you can't figure out with like a beating organ. I don't know how you're going to do it with the transplants.
The thing I don't, yeah. So what my main critique with the scientific, the big pharma community is that they seem to be making people sick on purpose, so then they can implement a lot of these solutions that they have.
100%.
I don't have a problem with them coming up with a pacemaker. Nobody's going to argue, pacemakers should be banned or something like that.
No.
But it's on top of that, the bigger story is, well, what's causing people to have heart conditions over time? Are those rates of heart problems going up? Oh, it looks like it's going up. Why is it going up? They don't care about that side of things because it only helps them make more money. So it's not, there's nothing going into prevention. There's nothing going into cleaning up the food supply. There's nothing, it's all about efficiency. How can we produce the most amount of food? What can we spray on this food to make it last so you can transport it from, some faraway place into the supermarket and have it stay in the supermarket for like 3 months and have it look exactly the same.
Well, and they always promote it as something really good for you, something really good for the planet. In the 1960s, they were spraying DDT, a mosquito killer, on all of our crops. The newspapers had pictures of kids running in the DDT because they said it was, the safest thing in the world. Meanwhile, it killed like a large portion of our bird population and also is a now known carcinogen. And then, of course, those companies have dumped those barrels of DDT off in the Catalina Islands. It's a huge mess. And like what you were talking about, the preserving of the fruit, that is a coating of fruit that was actually an invention that was funded by, it's called a peel. And it was funded partially by, guess who, a fan and partner of the WEF, Bill Gates. And basically, it would preserve fruits and vegetables on the shelves for much, much longer. And it's approved in the UK right now and actually is approved partially in the United States. I don't know if RFK Jr. has reversed that. But to me, like when you go buy a loaf of bread and then I don't eat bread, by the way. But like if you buy a loaf of bread or my husband buys a loaf of bread and it sits there and there's no mold on it for 3 months, don't you think that's a little like something's off? You want to see mold on your bread. You want to see mold on your fruit. That's the natural decomposition. And so just like they say in science, every action has an equal or opposite reaction. If you're keeping fruits and vegetables from doing what they're supposed to do, decomposing, what effect is that going to have on the human body? I would imagine probably over time, not well. Same thing with the lab-grown meat and the lab-grown chicken and all of that.
So you're saying, it's going to have some
point,
downstream side effects that we are not aware of yet.
Yeah, and to your point, like they do make us sick with these inventions. They promote it as good so that we are reliant on the different big pharma.
Yeah. I have an interesting story about Appeal.
Okay.
Well, because I did a story looking into them. This is like 2 years ago.
So did I.
And I was doing a story for Breaking Points at the time. I was putting together this like investigative piece.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to Appeal because I wanted to basically say, hey, I'm printing this story. Do you have any comment on, me saying all the stuff that you said about the coding and the chemicals and things like that? And so they set up a call for an interview with the head of their
at UCSB.
I don't know. I can't remember the lady's name, but she's like the head of the science, to R&D for them. And in the interview, so she was explaining what they're coming from and things like that. And I was just kind of explaining, hey, this is why people are suspicious of your product, because like you're only thinking about things from your investment perspective and you're not thinking about like the local community. You're thinking about things from like a globalist perspective, which people don't benefit from and all this stuff. And then she just started like breaking down on camera. Like
stop.
Just like
crying?
Yes. So I couldn't put that, I didn't put it in the piece because she was just
Why was she crying?
Because she, I think, felt some kind of like
regret or misunderstood.
I think it was like she's like, we're trying our best, like all these people are attacking us, that kind of thing.
Misunderstood.
Yes, they're like, we're just trying to do the right thing, and I spend I spend all of my day on this kind of I think it's trying to do. I'm trying to do good, and here we have all these people attacking us, running all these negative things. So I was like, oh
Yeah.
man. You could see how I think the reason why I want to tell that story is a lot of people I think in these spaces don't actually fully understand from the bigger perspective of why people would be suspicious of what they're trying to do, because we don't trust their end goal. We don't really trust that they're going to make the right decisions first. We only trust that we know for a fact that they're just going to do what the investors tell them to do later on. That's ultimately what's going on there. And I think that's an important lens to think
Well,
about
I think
things
there's a
through.
lot of really good people in science that are trying to do the right thing, right? Because the whole idea that they're probably sold, or that they've been, researching ways to fix, is that in the United States, a lot of food goes to waste.
Yeah.
Because people don't buy it. So we're going to stop, that from happening, food waste. But for me, I just think, well, then why doesn't the government or cities or local levels set up a program where if food's going to go to waste, you go give it to the homeless or the food shelters instead of throwing it in the trash?
Right.
To me, that seems like a much more simple thing than creating some Frankenstein coding, right? Like, I don't think that these are bad people, but, and I think that they're probably in their world.
That's what I'm saying.
So then when they hear the outside commentary of like, I'm not eating this shit, they feel attacked.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think like with this WEF, because I always thought, why are they broadcasting this to the world? Right? Shouldn't these things be done in some dark room, dungeon, lair, where they plan all this? Like, why is this being broadcast to the world? And the answer is they actually think this is good. Like, the people who are there think that this is good. Of course
they do, because they're like, you're going to live in a 15-minute city. You're going to eat lab-grown meat. You're not going to fly on a plane. You're going to have a carbon emission passport, and we're going to be jet-setting around the world in our planes. And we're going to have the whole world to ourselves. Of course they think it's great. They're like, keep the peasants where they belong, and we're going to be ruling from the top. It's going to be so good for you guys.
Right. And so that's like kind of the tricky thing is like, okay, how do we deal with this?
So,
where people are like with a tremendous amount of power and they think they're somehow doing the right thing.
Yes. So with the "you will own nothing and be happy," that is like a mantra of the WEF, of the World Economic Forum. And I thought this was really interesting yesterday. And I'm not saying that President Trump was giving the middle finger to the global elites the whole entire time on every single issue. But when it comes to that specific issue, he definitely did. So let's watch this.
On a house, but when a corporation buys it, they get depreciation. Okay, that's something we're going to have to think about too. I don't know if too many people think about that. You buy a corporation, they buy 500 houses, they buy hundreds of thousands, they buy 500 houses, they can take depreciation. A person sweats and works and buys one house, they can't. But homes are built for people, not for corporations, and America will not become a nation of renters. We're not going to do that. That's why I have signed an executive order banning large institutional investors from buying single-family homes. It's just not fair to the public. They're not able to buy a house. And I'm calling on Congress to pass that ban into permanent law, and I think they will. One of the biggest barriers to saving for a down payment has been surging credit card debt. The profit margin for credit card companies now exceeds 50%, one of the biggest. And they charge Americans interest rates of 28%.
Okay, so those are things that I'm 100% on board with, right? The banning of institutional investors from buying homes. I mean, nobody could argue against that. I think if you go back to even looking at how Trump won this election, the independents, this is what they were hoping for with the Trump administration.
Right.
None of the stuff, I think the Venezuela thing, the Iran thing, even the Greenland thing, overall is just not that popular with people who are just looking for reinvestment into America. They want to be taken care of here before we start thinking about foreign aid. How do we put money overseas into some other faraway place?
100%.
And I think this is
the America First agenda
that I think was promised. And I think last year, 2025, we didn't see too much of that. I don't know if this is a pivot for the midterms or something. There's like, hey, we're going to get shellacked if we don't do some of these domestic policies, because people are just like, everything is foreign policy, nothing here at home. I think this might be a correction.
Yeah, no, I think it's really good. And I think that we should be making homes more affordable. And so he took the first step. He signed an executive order this week banning large institutions and Wall Street investors from buying single family homes. He's also capping credit card interest at 10%, when I believe the average is between 26 and 50% interest. So this is going to give Americans a real shot at paying down their debt and give them a little bit more of a chance to save for a down payment. And then he also floated the idea that he would sign an executive order making it okay for Americans to pull their money out of their 401ks before it hits that retirement age, tax-free, if it is for a down payment on a home.
Yeah, I think those are all good things. I'm not sure the viability of this through Congress, because most of the stuff that you're doing through executive order here actually has to go through Congress. From my understanding, for it to actually like have an impact on enforcement, right? You can sign an executive order saying, I want this, but is it enforceable? I don't know about that. The credit card thing, I just looked up on CNBC, and he's asking Congress to enact a 10% credit card interest rate cap.
And you would have to be pretty stupid in Congress, whether you're on the left or the right, to not do this.
What do you mean? The Congress is stupid.
I know, but
what are you talking about? I would not be shocked if they did not do this.
Well, this is something like the Epstein files, where I think it's going to be an overwhelming majority, because all of their constituents would want interest capped.
Well, okay, so first of all, the Epstein files passed, but it's not being released.
Right.
There's a huge
I'm talking about
delay.
the votes.
The votes, it passed. They were forced to do it. They still haven't passed anything around congressional stock trading. That's a no-brainer, I think. Can't pass it for some reason. I think these are going to fall into the the order of like, can they actually pass this? I don't know, because this might be a good thing, like very popular for Trump to say, because he knows it probably won't be passed. This is just going to get me a lot of brownie points with people, and then they'll just blame Congress later and say, oh, look, Congress sucks and they can't pass it.
Look it up on, your AI, whatever you use. If President Trump signs an executive order to cap credit card interest in the United States to 10%, will that hold up as a law temporarily while Congress is working on the legislation?
Interesting. Can Trump sign an executive order
to cap credit card companies' interest rates at 10% for a year while Congress is working on the legislation to make it a law? Yeah.
Or does he need Congress? Right? Because the question is, can this be done with an executive order?
Right.
Is that going to have any...
Because...
It says, no, Trump cannot unilaterally sign an executive order to cap credit card interest rates in a legally binding and enforceable way. The cap would require an action of Congress. Okay.
Temporarily. It would not work. And so what's the point of an executive order?
The point of an executive order, I think a lot of times, is to signal that this is what I want from a presidential perspective.
I'm curious. What does that executive order do?
So, okay.
I'm just curious.
Executive order do then?
Just curious, like the rest of you guys. We're all learning here today.
Yeah, we're doing a live. Let's see here. The point. Okay, so the point of an executive order is more of a demand or strong suggestion directed at credit card companies to voluntarily lower their rates to 10%. No actual executive order legally mandates or can legally mandate or enforce such a cap.
Well, it'll be interesting. I think it's a good first step. At least he's saying it. We haven't had any previous presidents talking about this.
Yeah.
And, like RFK Jr. said, you have to take out certain ultra-processed foods from your ingredient list by 2026. And then you saw a lot of companies proactively doing that kind of stuff. Like In-N-Out, for example, took out canola oil and some of the other stuff. So we'll see what happens. Maybe President Trump signaling this. He definitely has good relationships with the banks, right? Those are all of his friends. So we'll see if it happens. If it does, it would be amazing. And I think that he actually, look at somebody in my live earlier said, Trump does what Trump wants and what Trump needs. And I think Trump needs these things to pass. Whether you want to argue it's for the American people or it's for Trump, he needs this stuff to pass. He needs the good favor of the people that voted for him because he wants to win the midterms. Typically, 90% of the time, the incumbent party does not win the midterms. And so he needs to have an economic boom. He needs to make the country secure and needs to follow through on a lot of these promises that he ran on in order to even have a chance. And he needs to win the midterms so he's not impeached. So I think there's a higher chance that he's going to get these things done for himself.
Yeah, I would be shocked. I would even be willing to make a bet with you that there's going to be no law that's passed that limits institutional investors from buying homes or this credit card cap thing. I don't think Congress is going to put that through this year.
Okay.
How confident are you in Congress? Before the midterms, right? Because he would have to get this done before the midterms.
Yeah. I don't know about it becoming a law, but like I said in the RFK Jr. example.
Well, so then it's just, if it's not a law, then it's just
But if they do
talk.
it, well, no, if they do it because he wants it done, like the 10% with the credit card companies, if they agree to do it without a law.
If they agree to do it without a law, I doubt that will happen.
Yeah.
Why would they do it without a law? They're just going to be like, oh, we'll just lower it. That doesn't make any sense. As a business, if I was like the CEO of, some Bank of America, I'm not going to lower the interest rate just because,
I told you this offline. My husband doesn't want this to happen, right? Because the credit card companies use that interest to pay for their points programs.
Sure.
And he is one of like the points guy people, right? He loves the points program. So he's like, fuck, these programs are going to go away. But obviously, as just a person, I think that this would be amazing for the American people. And I think that it's a good first step, right?
I'm not saying it's not a good signal.
Right.
I'm just saying it sounds like bullshit.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Like the Epstein files,
Yeah.
we're going to release it. They haven't been released.
That's
I totally
what
get
I'm saying.
it. So.
It sounds like bullshit.
Yes.
But that's where I'm coming. Because I don't have any trust. Maybe because I think you trust a little bit more in some of these figures. I have like zero trust.
No, I don't actually trust anybody except for myself, to be honest with you. Even the people closest to me. I just had this conversation the other day. The only person I trust 100% is me. That's it. I think like Jimmy Dore said, no matter who we vote for, we get John McCain. I think no matter who is in office, we are getting closer to a surveillance state, to digital IDs, cryptocurrency, all of these things. But I do have hope that along the way, maybe we could get a few wins. I'm an optimist, so of course I hope for these things. I don't want to just live in doom and gloom because at the end of the day, I just don't believe in that. I just think that's a dark hole to go down. I think a lot of Americans and a lot of people around the world get in that trap where we really are on a world stage. We really are watching a big show, and you can only let it affect you so much. So I have hope that some of these things will come true.
Well, that's okay. So that I actually agree with you on that point of like, I only believe in myself. You can't control what the politicians do. You can have faith in a politician that you liked before and they go into office and they do something different.
Right.
So for me personally, I always tell people this. If your goal is to want to buy a home, right? If that's your goal, then you need to like prioritize your life to help you get closer to that goal. And there's going to be some hardships along the way. This is not going to sound popular, actually, I don't think. Is that like you can't go to Starbucks and you got to cut that out.
Yes.
You have to take some ownership of your
Dave
actions.
Ramsey financial piece.
I think that's the Dave Ramsey thing, because he's like, hey, don't take on a debt, do your own thing. And I think that's an important message. But there's also all this governmental corruption that's stealing from the people, the fraud that's happening all over the place. Like that, we have to cut out from the government. Or else, for example, I don't want to pay taxes. If the taxes are going to go to bullshit causes that I don't want to, or funding NGOs and this and that, I don't want to be a part of it. You guys figure that out on your own. So I think there's two things happening here at the same time. I do think that part of this is a positioning to get voters back in the midterms, because the polls are not looking good for the Republicans at the moment. And on top of it, the ICE thing is not very popular at all. People don't like to see that. So I think that he's trying to kind of change the discourse. And it might work. I don't know. It might work. I'm not saying it's not going to work. It might work. I just don't believe him.
It will be interesting to see. I think he'd have to follow through. I don't know what polls you're looking at about his ratings. And I don't really trust the polls anyways, to be honest. The polls have... During the presidential election, we know this. The polls are shit.
The presidential election.
Kamala's going to take Iowa. My fucking ass.
No, I'm talking about polls from like a congressional race perspective, because they're saying that the Democrats are going to pick up, 20, 30 seats or something like that.
Well, and that happens 90% of the time. Like I said, the incumbent loses the midterms 90% of the time. So, of course, if you're going to make a bet that Trump's going to lose the midterms, that'd be a smart bet to make. That's statistically the case.
But it's like, how bad do you lose the midterms? That is the question.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if he does, right? Because if he does somehow pull off, let's say that these things do become law, he will be very popular, because at the end of the day, people virtue signal all they want, but people vote with their pockets. When the economy's good, when people have jobs, when they can afford a home, when they're buying a car, when they're feeling good, they want it to stay that way. And that's just, the reality of the situation. Speaking of the ICE stuff being unpopular, I do want to play this video that's been going viral from,
I think you can X that out.
Okay. That's been going on about ICE.
Charge of it for Obama.
Can I restart it? Maybe I have to do this.
120,000 removals. Trump's ICE chief is called a Nazi. Same guy, Tom Homan, was in charge of it for Obama. Obama deported in 2012 409,000 people. Trump in 2025, 290. Wow. You got to do the math. It's so frustrating because, like you said, they've taken such an anti-Trump administration position that no matter what he does, even if it is in the name of good intentions, the problem is Minnesota's a sanctuary state. So because they're a sanctuary state, they do not cooperate with ICE. They can arrest somebody for a violent crime, have them in jail, and they release them on the street. And so ICE is forced to go get these people in the streets.
Same guy.
Same exact guy. Tom Homan. Same exact guy.
This is only enforcing the conspiracy theory that I have with this whole ICE situation, which I was talking to you about.
Remind me. There's been so many that have been coming up on my table lately that I just only have room in my brain for so many.
Trump is actually not that serious about mass deportation of illegal immigrants, because not all of it, but a lot of his donors are very wealthy business people that rely on low-wage labor for their businesses. And the lowest wage labor are the illegal immigrants, is because they don't actually have any standing to demand anything. Because if you go, you can't negotiate anything with your employer if you're not legally here. It's the employer controls all of the power. So they can basically work you however they want to work you, whatever hours they choose. And there's no recourse for the employee. So what Trump is trying to do here, which I think is sort of working. So what Trump is doing is that he is making this grand show of deportations. Kristi Noem is asking the officers to film as much as they can, to put content up on their ICE social media, TikToks and things like that, because it creates this image that they're deporting a bunch of people. I think the base is loving it. But in actuality, what it's actually doing is that he's not actually deporting anybody, so his donors are fine with it. Because if you actually wanted to deport illegal immigrants, you would go to these businesses that hire these illegal immigrants and say, you are going to be now responsible. If you are hiring illegal immigrants, we're going to get you as well. So like the hotel business, the farms are exempt, right? Why are the farms exempt from this, situation?
Because we need food.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, is that this is not actually a move. This is just a show for the base. And then at the end of the day, this is only going to actually drive up sympathy for illegal immigrants. Because I'm actually one of those people that think, I don't think either these illegal immigrants need to be documented and then therefore legal again,
right,
or they got to go. So this is only going to make more people sympathize with immigrants that are here, creating more immigrants, which is ultimately what's good for business. They want immigrants. Elon Musk has talked a lot about this. They're pro-immigrant.
Yeah.
He himself is an immigrant as well, but they're pro-immigrant because they want more labor options in the U.S. So I think this is a grand conspiracy to do both, to like throw red meat for the base and then also for the donors.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like, and Joe Rogan has said this, right? We wanted to get out a lot of the people that voted for Trump. Like, I'm an independent. I voted for Trump. A lot of people want to get rid of the criminals, right? When you saw, video of Venezuelan gangs taking over apartment complexes in Arroyo, Colorado, people are like, okay, this has gotten out of control. Like, you need a little law and order in countries, right? China has that on lock, right? Japan, the streets are clean as can be, right?
Yeah.
You don't have any of this stuff in other countries. But people, I think, want to make sure that the good people that have immigrated here get to stay. And so I think what you're talking about is we need a better system to make sure that these people have a clean, clear, easy path to citizenship.
Right. That's what that would be the good faith.
But if they're
like you shut the border down, obviously you can't have free flowing people.
Which we've done.
Okay. The border's closed now.
That's an important thing, because you remember last year, during the Biden-Harris administration, the videos were all over X. I know you were seeing it.
Yeah.
Caravans of people, a lot of them military-age men, coming across the border.
So we've stopped that now.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you remember that.
Yeah.
Like, that was insane.
So we stopped that, and then now the people are here. Are you actually going to deport? I just don't think he's that serious about deporting them. I just don't think he's...
So he's not as bad as the media is making him seem to be.
I think the left-wing media is trying to create chaos in the streets. Yeah, I've said this in the episode that we did right after, right? Because we talked about they're sowing division on purpose. They're having people go march in the streets right now for something that Obama did.
Well, and a lot of these people have been caught now from the great interviewers that go on the streets. A lot of them are paid protesters, right?
I don't know if a lot of them, but you just need a few of them you just need a few paid protesters to then make it seem like it's an organic movement, and then people who are unpaid go on the street. I mean, that's the dummiest thing, I think, if you're unpaid,
Right. Like my cousin, for example.
Yeah,
we think very differently. She's out there. She's protesting the No Kings, this and that. I'm like, bitch, you should at least be getting paid. Your dumbass is going out there and doing this for free. You're missing work for that. You should get a check.
Yeah.
Call up Soros.
Yeah. So that's what I think. I don't think Trump, once again, I think he's doing a very masterful move here where like the base is loving it. Okay.
With what?
With the ICE deportations. They're loving these videos. They're like, they're cheering this on. I think this is working for the base, but I just don't think that he's actually serious about the deportations.
Yeah, I sent you a video just now. I don't know if you want to plug it in, but it's your girl Jillian Michaels.
Oh, what is she doing?
She did a whole thing too about the ICE stuff and the numbers that came up before we started going live, and so
yeah, I'm putting it in now.
We could pull this up.
Oh, here.
The link's not there.
Boom. All right, the link is in there. Let's see what Jillian Michaels has to say.
It didn't do the link.
Boom. Who I enjoy talking to a lot. I think her and I probably overlap on 70%. There's 30% I disagree with vehemently on things. Let's see what she's going
We interviewed her just like Matt Kim.
Yeah.
And she's super nice, and she was, very gracious and everything. Matt Kim stole my fave. Okay, here we go.
I'll let him know.
He deported or returned 12 million people. Obama deported and returned 5 million people. Trump is not even at 1.5 million. And no, they didn't all get due process. In fact, Bill Clinton worked with a Republican Congress to pass a law that deprived anyone within 100 miles of any U.S. border who'd been in the country less than 14 days a courtroom. Obama expanded that law. So for everyone who's mad about Alligator Alcatraz, let's also not forget that Obama was the one who built the cages at the border. The reason that you weren't seeing ICE agent raids all over the news back then is because sanctuary cities did not exist. Local law enforcement cooperated with federal law enforcement. They held criminals for ICE to pick up. They didn't release them. They didn't tell people that ICE were Trump's private army who was zip-tying children. Also a lie. And guess what? ICE didn't have to wear masks. They wore street clothes. They didn't need to wear riot gear. No riot gear. Wake up. You're being manipulated.
I agree with most of what she said. I think that people are being manipulated to care about a specific cause because I think they found one in this, that this is a very divisive issue amongst the, sorry to say, normie liberals, to like go all in on this one issue when in fact that this has already been happening. And you can critique Obama. People are saying, no, Obama was also horrible for this. I think Butch Ware would be one of those people. Another person we talked to.
Love Butch Ware.
And he also would say, yes, Obama's a big hypocrite. The Democrats are big hypocrites because they were doing this exact same policy. And now they're asking and firing people up to go in the streets to honestly put their own lives in danger a little bit for a cause that they also are kind of on board with. To be honest with you, like the Democrats are not against this at all. So like for those people marching in the streets, I hope you don't vote Democrat in the next cycle, right? Because it doesn't even make any sense. Like I'd be fine if all those people marching out there said, all right, we're now voting third party. I'm all for it because then you're actually seeking an alternative versus just bouncing back and forth between these two horrible parties.
I agree.
Right? If you're going to go march in the street, you should probably not vote for either of these two parties because both parties, depending on who's in power, marching in the streets, right? Because I saw a video, because I was looking this up, you know, like the complying thing with people just saying, oh, you just comply, but then flip, 5 years ago, I saw a video of a woman get tased because she didn't want to wear a mask at a football game. Dude. Right? So it's like, so that you wouldn't say, oh, just comply. It's my right to do what I want with my body. I shouldn't be getting harmed because I didn't want to do that. And I just feel like people are getting ping-pong back and forth between these two parties that pit people against each other. Yeah. So the ultimate solution is to go outside of this. Yeah. This is always going to be back and forth because I guarantee you as soon as a Democrat gets in power, it's going to be flipped again. It's going to be the same thing. Like Democrats are now taking away free speech, but for the free speech issues that they care about, right? Right now, there's Republican free speech issues that, the Jews have to be super safe or whatever it is that they're going on about right now with the Miami situation, right? That with that lady, posting something on Facebook and the mayor coming in saying, wow, this is, inciting violence. So I think it's just ping pong. Back in the days, it was COVID. People who were against the Biden COVID policies had people show up their doors, right? Authorities coming in, deplatforming people.
Insane.
So I think we got to get out of this.
100%. And when it comes to our next president, right now it's looking like we have Hunger Games Gavin Newsom and Palantir plant JD Vance. That's really what it's looking like. So we need
that's good for. I would say just from a pure political analysis,
JD's looking like he's gonna win.
looking strong. If it's head-to-head Gavin Newsom,
Did you see Gavin getting like shit on?
Because of the Ben Shapiro interview? Or what are you talking about?
No, but what's that? I don't even know.
Well, he went on Ben Shapiro, and he basically said that there's no genocide going on in Gaza.
Wow.
And then he also said that, I'm supportive of ICE, basically. I'm like,
damn.
Well, and I'm just thinking, well, if that's the policies that people want, they'll just vote JD Vance. They're not going to go to you for some milquetoast like, oh, it's not genocide. Like, we should be a little bit nicer.
First of all, it is genocide.
Yeah. Like, what we prove? Because the master plan has been. I don't know if you want to get into the master plan that Jared Kushner revealed at the WEF.
I actually have that on Gaza. Here as well.
The new Gaza,
which has been in the works. We know that from that clip that I played you. I think it was 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And there was like that snafu where the guy said it, and Jared Kushner's like,
"Yo."
Yeah. But yeah, Gavin Newsom.
What did he? Yeah. What story are you talking about?
I'm talking about how not Trump, but the Trump administration was shitting on Gavin Newsom on the WEF stage, and then Gavin Newsom, I think they called him Sparkle Barbie. I don't know if I have this. And then Gavin Newsom pops back, and who's the ESPN guy that was possibly going to run for president on First Take?
Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith this morning does a piece on Gavin Newsom like, are you for America or not? Shut your mouth when you're bashing our administration, basically. And, he's like loud and strong and anyways, and funny. So, yeah, it doesn't look like it's going well for Gavin.
I kind of do agree with that a little bit in when you're abroad.
Yeah.
You should present a united front for your country.
Right.
That's that's my opinion. Maybe I'm a little arcane. I don't know what the right word is in that sense.
Is arcane?
I don't know what the word is, but you guys know what I'm talking about, where you are representing your country abroad. You shouldn't be undermining your own country and like working deals with other leaders and things like that out in the open. This should be like behind closed. It's a little bit of like, hey, your family stuff stays your family stuff.
I was just gonna say, it's like, don't air out your dirty laundry, right? I just sent you the Stephen A. Smith.
So what about, so Trump is airing out all kinds of dirty laundry. He's like texting Macron on the side, boom, posts the text on Truth Social.
I didn't see this.
You didn't see this? This is like Macron texting him. He's like, oh yeah,
Brigitte beat the shit out of me. I'm wearing the Nation.
He was saying something like, I love the Iran plan. Like, we can do a great thing on Iran. I'm not so sure about the Greenland situation.
Macron said that?
Yes. And then he just posts the text onto Truth Social. And I'm like, nobody's going to text you after this, right? Because those texts
but they will. We've learned. They will. We've learned time and time again. I just texted you the Stephen A. Smith thing. And we'll play it. But I also would just like to say that I do think the Greenland thing, I saw somebody say this, and I have the clip, could be a distraction from what's going on in Iran, and something could be brewing there.
Oh, 100% something is brewing in Iran right now. We're going to probably blow it up.
I think, okay, here we go. Here is, let's hope not. Thought we were going to use military force on Greenland, and there was going to be a regime change. So let's just see. I haven't actually listened to the whole clip, but I just know it's going to be good because it's Stephen A. Smith.
Gavin Newsom. Respectfully, what are you doing? You're the governor of the state of California in the United States of America. Why are you over in Davos, Switzerland, talking to folks and speaking negatively about the president of the United States? I have no problem with Gavin Newsom being candid and open about his feelings about our president on United States soil. To go over to another country, Switzerland, to go over there and to be in the presence of other European leaders speaking against the president of the United States. I'm not down with that. Y'all might be. I'm not down with that at all. Say whatever you want here as a governor from the opposite side of the aisle of a state in the United States on American soil, fine. But I'm one of those people, when we go somewhere else, it's America first. Our problems, our problems.
Right there.
But we ain't taking dirty laundry outside. You don't go on.
Okay. This reminds me of a clip which I just found. Okay, go to the spreadsheet.
Okay.
Go to the one that says Ana Paulina Luna. Click on that. Play this clip because this is like exactly what Stephen A. was talking about.
Okay, we're gonna play a word game here together. What's the one word that comes to mind when you think about Newsom? AOC.
Pass.
Ilhan Omar.
Interesting.
Really? Why?
I actually was on a delegation to the EU with the House Democracy Partnership Institute, and she was on that delegation. And there was a member from Belgium that was there who was a total asshole, okay? He was saying, your Congress isn't respected by your own president. He doesn't respect you guys. You guys are basically a joke. He was telling this to our delegation. Sure. And so I was kind of sparring with the guy. And then Ilhan spoke after me. She was sitting, I think like 2 seats to my left. And Andy Ogles was there, Vern Buchanan, a few others. And she goes, and this blew me away. She goes, and she looks at the guy, she goes, you might not like what our president is doing, and you might not agree with our foreign policy, but when we're here, you will respect our president. She was talking about Trump.
Stop it.
And so that's why I say interesting, because like when we fight together, right, and like there's always this push and pull in politics, and politics is messy, but I didn't expect that being on a delegation with a foreign government, but she said that. And I think at that point in time, when you have that type of unified front, especially in dealing with the EU, was pleasantly surprising.
See, that right there, I think, is what you're supposed to do, right? Because you probably would have domestic disagreements with Trump about various policies, but when you go abroad, you're on the same team.
100%.
So mad respect there for Ilhan Omar. Also respect for Anna Paulina Luna for telling that story, because
for sure
she didn't. I mean, that's a nonpartisan story. She's almost saying, hey, I don't agree with Ilhan on a lot of issues, but I saw her sticking up for Trump.
I don't know much about her, but I've seen lately on X, people are saying, oh, she had $49 in her bank account 8 years ago. Now she's got $25 million. Have you seen this?
I haven't seen it, but that's like every Congress person.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah, because they're on Polymarket.
Yeah.
They're on Kalshi.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
That's what we need, I think, from that perspective, going abroad. So we'll see what, I think there's, we're doing another show early next week, which I think there will be more coming from the WEF over the weekend. I think there's going to be some more developments coming that way.
You're going to see a lot of people with Greenland flags on their porches. Taking out the Ukraine flags or putting in the Greenland ones. It was Venezuela, now Greenland. That's what you're going to see next week. Just saying, might be happening.
And that is the kind of virtue signaling display that I, despise. but anyways, okay, so moving to, in terms of like the domestic policies around speech, you're talking about how England has, Great Britain has like no speech, free speech.
I mean, it's getting so bad.
But it seems to be there's some cases of that happening here in the United States with the whole Sneako, Andrew Tate drama that's going on in South Florida.
Yes. So
do you have an initial reaction? So just to give people the story,
yes, give the story.
Is that I think it was Nick Fuentes, Sneako, Andrew Tate, some of the other guys. Myron Gaines. They went to a club in I believe Miami Beach, in South Florida, and they were playing the Kanye song. I don't even want to say it because I don't know if that's because I don't think you're supposed to even say it on YouTube. The song about the German painter. Okay.
Hail Adolf.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
Exactly.
Why'd you call? Oh, because he painted.
Yeah, he had these magnificent paintings of German shepherds.
Wow.
Anyways, then after that, Sneako gets a call from the mayor saying he's been banned from every single.
Oh, I didn't know it was the mayor.
Yeah.
Woo!
That he's been banned from every single nightclub in the entire country, not even just in Miami. He's like, you're not welcome in Miami Beach. That's
and
for sure,
also, I just want to give a little background too.
Yeah.
If I'm right, because I might be wrong on this, maybe these are two different things, but Sneako was going out with Nick Fuentes, the Tate brothers, right? Was this the same night?
Yeah.
They were all together, and everybody's like, oh, it's like the new club. Who was it? And then it was the Clavel, whatever his name is, the guy that, looks at girls and says, oh, her forehead is too...
I have no idea who that is.
Oh, you don't know that guy?
No. I do not know that guy.
The good-looking one that was with all of them?
Okay, well, we have the clip. Let's see if you see him in here.
Okay.
All right, so
he's
it's
right in the front. That's
C7.
him.
Okay, so play real quick.
What
C7.
just happened?
C7.
Here we go.
Don't understand the things I say on Twitter.
Fucking in trouble for
It was
this.
your clip, not mine.
Okay, so what's interesting now, there's like a huge beef between. So there's the issue, of course, with the Miami Beach mayor. We have a clip of that.
Kohler. I don't know how to say his name, but it's in the things.
But Andrew Tate goes on PBD and then throws Sneako under the bus.
Sorry. Somebody said I called them the Tate brothers, and that was amazing. Possibly.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Go to D7. So D7, this is Andrew Tate, then goes on a PBD after, and he basically throws Sneako under the bus. It's
what? Okay, I don't know.
Sneako played the song.
Yes.
Am I fast forwarding?
Yeah, I think
just play
Tristan
the first minute.
explicitly told me that Sneako played the song.
If Sneako played the song, Sneako played the song. I don't think that any of them are deeply anti-Semitic genuinely. I think they're just kids. It gets a reaction. They think they're funny. They're on the internet. I really didn't do anything wrong. I understand why some people were offended. I got on a bus. Full-grown men made decisions while I sat on my phone. I then got off the bus and stood in a nightclub while other people played songs while I sat on my phone. So it's so clear that songs like this can't be played without meeting genuine power in the world. Don't you think to somebody who is completely detached from this situation, somebody at home who has nothing to do with this situation, watches it and sits and goes, ah, see? They are in charge of everything. I understand how these things get attached to my name. It's very inconvenient for me. I have Jewish business partners. I have tech teams in Israel. I have things going on. And
So it may sound like this is like the beginning of the rift happening, because he's going on and saying, I'm not really, is this Sneako playing the song? I don't really have anything to do with it. I can understand why people would be offended. I can understand the other position as well.
He doesn't want to lose his investors, and it's a big cop-out because guess what? You were on the bus, you hang around with dogs, you catch fleas. There's that old saying, right? I'm not saying that's what these people are. But it's like, you were there. Oh, these young kids. You were there, bitch. Sorry.
And now he's also saying, I think a little bit of a slip up. I'm not sure, but people are like, wait, hold on a second. You have Israeli businesses now or something like that? What's that all about?
Bottom line is Andrew Tate is out here, my new slip. It was a Freudian slip. Is out here always telling women how they should behave and what's appropriate and this and that. Well, if you don't want to be associated with the young boys, then don't go on a party bus to the club when you're fucking 40 years old and then go and defend it. At least stand by what you did.
Well, that's what, exactly. So then
you're just as guilty as them. Shut up.
And so he tweeted this out. This is on their H7. I'll read it. This is sort of H7.
Down? This is 7. Oh, no, that's 8.
H.
Oh.
And he just says, there's a reason why Ye stopped. You don't understand. Nobody has correctly identified what happens if you tell the truth. There's a lot before death. Very cryptic.
They MK Ultra'd. First of all, let me see if I can find this myself.
Yeah. So as that's going on, so essentially,
because Ye said he was going to, if he disappeared for a while, they did something to him. I don't know if you remember this, like during the Kim Kardashian divorce. And he went away and then he came back. He was like 6 inches taller with a weird jaw. I'm trying to find the before and after. And I don't know, do you guys remember this? And then all of a sudden the new fashion that he wore was covering his face.
I don't know what, I'm
like,
not following closely, but I think after the song was released, somebody gave him a nice talking to, and now he's trying to distance himself from
if that's even him. If that's even him.
Oh, you're saying he got completely replaced.
They could have cloned his ass.
They cloned him. Okay, maybe.
I'm just saying.
Maybe.
You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Let's see what's going on.
Oh.
Yeah, but I think Andrew, while you're looking for that,
if I can find it,
I think he threw Sneako on the bus. I think that's fucked up, right? Because he was clearly having a good time there, right? He was just like, it's funny, and then now just say, well, this is, just him. It's just a bunch of young kids. Like, why are you hanging out with the young kids then? If you're so mature, why is that going on?
Right.
So
I can't find it, but
there's the
people out there know what I'm talking about.
There's a bit of and this is the same mayor, by the way, that had that lady, or had the police show up to that lady's house who critiqued his Palestine.
Obama's ICE chief.
I don't know about that.
You know about that? Did you see that clip?
I don't think so.
Here, play G7. G7.
Right here.
Boom. G7.
I was quick on that one.
This clip has been played a bunch of times. Super viral.
Is that your account?
I refuse to answer questions without my lawyer present. So I really don't know how to answer that question either way.
Like I said, you're not going to jail.
This is freedom of speech. This is America, right?
And
veteran.
And I agree with you 100%.
Okay.
We're just trying to see if it's you, because if we're not talking to the right person, we want to go see who the right person is.
Okay, how can I help you?
So pretty much it's just a statement that was made as far as,
verbatim, it says the guy who consistently calls for the death of all Palestinians tried to shut down a theater for showing a movie that hurt his feelings and refuses to stand up for the LGBTQ community in any way. He even leaves the room when they vote and on related matters. Wants you to know that you're all welcome. Clown face, clown face, clown face. 3 days ago.
So you don't know if it was you?
I'm not going to answer whether that's me or not.
Okay.
The concerning part, and not concerning for the person who's posting it, what we're just trying to prevent is somebody else getting agitated or agreeing with the statement. We're not saying it's true or not.
Understood.
That guy who consistently calls for the death of all Palestinians, that can probably incite somebody to do something radical. That's all we're here to talk about. And we wanted to get your side. If it was you that posted that, I would think to refrain from posting things like that, because that could get something
I appreciate your concern. I appreciate you coming.
I mean, that is so ridiculous. And
Refrain from posting that?
Mar R310 said the cops should be embarrassed. Thank you, Mar, for all of your amazing commentary. There she is there. I just got to give her a shout out because she keeps commenting. And then Chrysanthemung, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. What a waste of taxpayer money. 100%.
Well, what you'll find out about this mayor is that he is very much devoted to the state of Israel. I did a piece on him.
My gosh.
The other day, he's like visiting Israel all the time. He has a new law passed, like basically not banning protests, but making it much more difficult to protest in Miami Beach. He like yells and shouts down, like, you know, one of those city hall things that you go to sometimes where you like,
yes,
the city council meetings and such. Like he there's a clip of him. He's like, cut the mic. And this was like this woman talking about like her right to protest. He's like, cut the mic, blah blah blah.
Wow. I'm
not gonna let you defame the state of Israel.
I mean, it's become such a hot button topic. I was watching Salt Lake City Housewives Reunion Part 2 last night.
Okay. This came up? No.
Yes.
No, it did not. No, something
I
like...
swear to God. One of the castmates, Meredith, is Jewish.
Yeah.
She, the whole season, hates this girl, Brittany, this housewife, Brittany. They've gone back and forth. And Andy Cohen is the one that leads these reunions. He's a Jewish man, and he's also a huge Zionist. And she goes, well, the reason I really have a problem with Brittany is because she is against Jews. And Brittany's like, no, I'm not at all. And she proceeds to tell this story that they had the same manicurist. It was Meredith's manicurist that said, and she says this on the show, that had tweeted a social media post, pedophiles can escape to Israel and not have anything against them, right?
Well, pedophiles can escape to Israel. That's just a fact.
So I'm watching this, and I'm like, facts, right?
Yeah.
And Brittany apparently, after he had posted this without knowing, the guy had reached out to her and said, hey, I did your nails for free. Will you give me a review? And she just said, like, my manicure's great. And because of this, Meredith claimed that this one that gave a review, which she then deleted because she realized, like, how hurtful it was to Meredith, she's now anti-Semitic. And she called her anti-Semitic on the reunion.
Really?
And I'm like, holy shit. This is now on fucking Bravo Housewives Reunions.
It's like reaching, I would say, a norm. It's not even the Sneako guys, right? It's
No.
not even the edgy people. It's like normal, run-of-the-mill. Not run-of-the-mill, but these are the housewives. This is mass mainstream television. And there are people on there who probably don't have that strong of a political opinion on this kind of stuff.
They don't know what the fuck is going on.
They just see pedophiles escaping to Israel bad, right? That's just what it is. It's not good, right? That's just, everybody should be opposed to that. But then because the state of Israel is involved, all of a sudden, well, that's anti-Semitic.
Well, and that's exactly what happened, which is totally wrong. I was watching it. Meredith says to Andy, it says that, the pedophiles can escape to Israel. And I'm sitting there.
What is Andy Cohen? Andy Cohen's a big Zionist. So
and I'm sitting there with my husband, and I'm like, I turn to him and I'm like, facts. And then, Brittany gets thrown out. She gets so upset because Andy says, so do you think that Brittany is anti-Semitic? And Meredith double downs and says, yes. And Brittany's so upset she gets off stage because she's like, you're saying this bullshit about me. I have a lot of Jewish friends. I didn't even know that this guy posted this. I gave him a Yelp review.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. Maybe I misunderstood. It's not her posting this.
No.
She gave a Yelp review
to a
guy who posted that.
Yes.
That's absolutely insane.
I just couldn't believe that it had made it to Bravo. Housewives.
So now it's
conversations.
That's like a guilt by association of something that has to be interpreted in a bad way.
And by the way, her Yelp review was like, I loved my manicure. That was the review.
No, it's absolutely. So then she just walked out. Then she's gone.
She's crying right now because the reunion ended. Part 3 is next Wednesday. For those of you who want to tune in, I'm very curious to see.
Are they going to follow up on? Okay, this isn't live, right? This is taped months ago, right?
No, I think a few weeks ago, but it was pre-recorded, and so they ended it there because, of course, high drama.
And they cleared this to sort of air on television because now, what that essentially is going to do, I think it's going to. I don't think it's going to cause anti-Semitism. All right, just for a fact. I think what's going to do is make people question, because most people who are watching these shows probably don't even know what the hell's going on. They're like, what? Pedophiles escaping to Israel? And then you go Google that, you're going to find many, many articles talking about how there's programs that you can apply for, or how all these rich, pedophiles have been able to find citizenship in Israel. Widely documented.
Right. And that has nothing to do with Jewish people. It has to do with Israel policy.
Right. And then people are going to wonder, oh, well, why did we just give them $3.5 billion again?
So anyways, it's made it to Housewives.
Holy moly.
It's my only contribution to this conversation.
Well, it's a great contribution. Well, because
James's head's exploding. He can't even believe.
Well, just because it's not Sneako being edgy playing, the HH song. It's like normal.
A manicure Yelp review.
A manicure Yelp. This is like reminds me
that a manicurist that had posted this.
Yeah.
Wild.
Well, so this reminds me of that story. Let me see if I can find it, where this Australian chick was sued because she, for anti-Semitism, because she got some kind of butt dial. Here, hold on. I found it. We got to play this. We must play this now. Hold on 1 second. I'm just going to put it. It's going to be in black.
Speaking of manicurists, my nail's about to break off. I need a...
The one in the black right there. Yeah. Have you've not checked out this story? Here, let's...
I don't think so.
Taken a young Meadowbank woman to court alleging she left an anti-Semitic voice message for a well-known nutritionist just days after the Bondi attack. But the accused's lawyer says it was an accidental pocket dial and the charges are a massive overreach.
What police allege was an anti-Semitic threat, the defence says was anything but.
This seems to be a case of charge burst and answer questions later.
Serena Tanuri charged with harassing Mandy Sacker, a nutritionist of Jewish faith she'd never met but seen on TV and social media. The alleged offending contained in a voicemail 1 week after the Bondi massacre.
All of the circumstances of this case point in one direction. It is an accidental call.
Serena's lawyer noting his client, who works at Bunnings, has a severe intellectual and cognitive disability supported by the NDIS.
She's not anti-Semitic. She doesn't even understand the conflict.
It's alleged Serena sent a text to Mandy, writing, "Hey, how are you? Is this Mandy? I saw somewhere that you helped Katie from Married at First Sight with her nutrition. I was wondering if you could help me as well, Serena." Around 5 hours later, a call from Serena's number went to Mandy's voicemail. No voices were heard on the recording, but Mandy claims she heard sounds she believed were gunshots, causing her immediate fear and nervousness.
It could be a bed creaking. It could be someone snoring.
The 26-year-old, who has also been hit with an AVO, pleaded not guilty today. The case is listed for next month, when a decision will be made on whether the charge is dropped or if the matter goes to a hearing.
Explain it to me.
Okay, so here's what happened. So you have the chick who is the nutritionist, right?
Is
the
she
Jewish
brunette.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mandy, and then the other chick, the blonde girl. So what happened is she reached out over social media, right? She saw her video. She saw Married at First Sight or whatever, and she's
so the blonde was on Married at First Sight.
No, the blonde is just a random woman.
Okay.
Okay. So she sees Mandy, the nutritionist, on social media. He says, "Oh, I saw you on Married at First Sight helping so-and-so with the nutrition. Like, will you be able to help me out with this?" Right? That's just like just a DM.
Yeah.
Nice, nothing to do with anything. And then 5 hours later, what is alleged to be happening is that she probably had a butt dial, because I think Instagram has like a calling feature now.
Yeah, it does.
And so then you could literally maybe pocket dial her and then have like the sound in your pocket and be like, and then Mandy said, "Oh, I thought that was gunshots. So then now I'm suing this lady for anti-Semitism because of the pocket dial."
Oh my God. You guys, we've fallen off.
Yeah. And so everybody's like, hold on a second. And then this lady is, because his lawyer or her lawyer was like, she has like a cognitive disorder. She has no idea what's going on. She just sent a nice message to Mandy saying that, "Oh, I'm interested in
And
nutritional
how sad
help."
is that
Yeah.
for the blonde?
Yeah.
Like, imagine that. You do nothing, and then you have this, like, legal case.
That she's dealing with, which is absolutely insane. And that's in Australia. So that because of the Bondi Beach shooting, they're now passing very, very strict laws around anti-Semitism, which includes up to not being able to criticize Netanyahu. So criticism of Netanyahu would be considered anti-Semitic under this new law that's being proposed in Australia in response to the Bondi Beach
Australia is
shooting.
just almost as bad as the UK with a lot of their laws and stuff around freedom of speech, digital IDs, all of that stuff. But I just had to look this up. I don't know if you ever watched Summer Heights High on HBO with Mr. G.
No.
Oh my God. Well, anytime, I don't know if you guys ever have, but every time I hear an Australian accent, I think of Mr. G. It was on HBO 10, 12, I don't even know how many years ago. And it's a comedy and it's hilarious. And anyways, I can't go into it. But.
You can't go because I have never seen it. My bad.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
My bad. All right. So before we sign off for the day,
wait, we have to go
housekeeping
into.
updates. What do you mean?
I want to go into the Erika Kirk stuff.
Oh, I totally forgot about the Erika. Okay, let's get into the Erika Kirk stuff.
Even if we go a little over and we have less time between our shows, because
Right, I'm not trying to cut off here. We have another interview that we're filming after this.
Yes, with news for updates. We might as well tell you guys.
Yeah, so it's coming. That'll be coming up in the future.
Yes.
But we just wanted to. So I was like, oh, maybe we'll do like an hour and a half.
You know,
but now we're on. Let's do Erika Kirk.
You
Let's
know
do it.
You know the content creator that goes, "Have you heard the news?" That guy. Anyways, just some weird stuff with her. She has announced a new tour called Make Heaven Crowded. I don't know if you've heard about this.
Yeah, I've heard about it. She's in LA today.
The trad wife with no kids.
Well, her kids might be been taken from her,
No,
according to Anna
please.
Paulina Luna in that episode. In that that clip that I played for you earlier from PBD, she said something about how she's lost her husband and her kids.
Exactly. Erika Gate is getting darker and weirder by the minute. So she is set to launch her speaking tour alongside Pastor Greg Laurie, who has been accused of pedophilia and child trafficking.
Well, he might want to look into moving to Israel, potentially.
Literally. A nice tie in there. Oh, we got our production notes on here. Also, Candace Owens had Baron Coleman on. That's how you say his name, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to make another Tate brothers mistake. And Candace reveals that Erika waited an hour on the tarmac for Andrew Colvett to get there instead of going to the hospital, which is super fucking weird. Let's watch this.
Because we learn more.
Yeah, but the number one thing that I think about, this is actually number one. Andrew Colvett, because I had no idea that he would be engaged in this cover-up and lying after Charlie's assassination. And I obviously was like openly crying on the phone with him in the aftermath. And he painted a vivid picture for me in that immediate 48 hours. We were on the phone. And he told me about how when he flew, while he was on the plane flying, he had so much anxiety and it was pent up because, like, you know, everyone was messaging him while he's on the plane and, you know, he doesn't know whether or not, you know, Charlie was okay or whatever. And then he said that anxiety, he said, as soon as the plane landed, I got off of the plane and ran into Erika's arms on the tarmac and boo-hoo cried. He said, like, basically, like, you know, like, fell into her arms and cried because he was had so much anxiety. Their planes landed an hour apart. So I just thought it was interesting that she waited to go to the hospital, because I mean, who could say, I think we can say what we would do. We'd probably go right to the hospital. And, you know, she did tell me that she found out Charlie was dead before they took off in Arizona. And I think about that a lot. Like, why wait an hour on the tarmac? And then, despite waiting for him to land, they then went into different entries into the hospital. Erika went through the back and Andrew went through the front. So there's a lot there that doesn't make sense to me. But the hour waiting on the tarmac bothers me because you are with other people. You should get to the hospital as fast as possible. And why are we waiting for Andrew Colvett?
So what do you think what are your theories around why she waited an hour for Andrew Colvett to get there before going to the hospital? Is there a particular, what is she, like, why is that suspicious? Is it suspicious because she doesn't care about Charlie that much? And that's like, oh, this is supposed to have, like, she's waiting for Colvett for the official move, right? Because it's not like an emotional reaction to her husband dying. It's just, oh, she was his handler. So it's like, all right, this is the next move. I'm going to wait for my, you know, instructions as how to proceed. Is that sort of what people are thinking?
For me, I'm thinking you marry the person you love.
Yep.
And they had children together. And I think every wife's instinct, if she heard that her husband was shot in the neck, would be to go to her husband immediately. You're not waiting for frickin' Joe, Schmo, whoever to arrive on the tarmac. You're not thinking about anything except for getting to your husband. That's it.
Right.
Even if he was dead, even if she knew he was already dead, why wouldn't you go hold him and see him? I would be thinking, maybe they got it wrong. Maybe it wasn't my husband. I have to be there. I have to see for myself, right? I'm not sitting there waiting for someone else's fucking plane to land to console them. That's also weird, right? She didn't say on that, you know, Andrew Colvett was boohoo crying and so was Erika Kirk, saying that Andrew Colvett was boohoo crying and Erika Kirk was like consoling him.
Yeah, well, Erika had never really seemed too distraught about her husband being executed publicly. She's never, I know she's cried some tears, but a lot of the times when she's looking real sad, it's like a little bit overplayed. And so, yeah, I don't think she gave a fuck, to be honest with you.
And so
she did not give a fuck.
That further supports theories out there that it was an arranged marriage. Maybe Charlie didn't know, right? There's like the Truman Show theory that's out there. We know she was an actress, right? But she's publicly said, you know, she's this Christian and she has all these Christian values and she didn't date anybody before. And now there's also new footage that has come out of her. Before I even get into that, so after this came out on Candace Owens that she waited an hour on the tarmac, she has now restricted her plane.
What do you mean restricted?
Erika Kirk has now restricted her plane from being tracked on public apps.
You can do that?
It's out there now.
Okay, interesting.
This started on January 5th, and she has had it blocked. Now, I'm sure she could do this, right? Through her channels with the government or whatever, just because she's so high profile, I don't want people to track me, right? I think Taylor Swift did this too, because you could say, oh, I have a stalker.
I thought they had a Swiftie plane tracker going.
They did, but it was blocked.
Oh.
I think that you can find out if they're tracking, right? And make a case that, which I get, right? But very bizarre after that. Then they TPUSA has fired 40 employees now. Did you know this?
Yeah, I saw this clip. Yeah.
Because they're suspicious that they might be providing information to the Charlie Kirk investigation. And to this I say, what do you have to hide?
Well, apparently quite a bit. I mean, I think the organization, even outside of the Charlie Kirk assassination, was very dark. I was never a big fan or a fan at all of Turning Point. I thought there was always something very sketchy. It's a dark organization. You could tell by the people who fund the organization and their aspirations, like the amount of not literal dark money, or literally and figurative dark money, right? It's the dark in that you don't really know who's giving the money, and it's also dark that these people have the plan that they want to install here. So then, of course, there's going to be some dirt, right? If you go, what is it? You go dig in the garden, you're going to find dirt, or you're going to get dirt on yourself.
I don't know. Is that a saying? I like it, even if you just made it up. But anyways, we don't even need to play the clip, but they fired 40 people from TPUSA because, you know, they didn't want anybody at TPUSA basically talking to Candace or anybody else. And I think that's very strange. And yeah, if you dig in the garden, you might get dirt on you, but are you going to find a fucking body? Yeah. Like, that's the thing, right?
So we haven't found the body, so to speak. There's a lot of dirt because the dirt's going to be there with TPUSA. I did find some more information if you're curious about the pedophilic pastor.
Sure.
So this is apparently a case 2005 accusing Harvest Christian Fellowship. No, I'm just reading.
Oh.
Pastor and missionary Paul Havasgaard of widespread child sexual abuse and trafficking at children's homes and shelters in Romania that were funded and supported by Harvest Christian Fellowship, a large California megachurch led by evangelist Pastor Greg Laurie, who is the guy that is on this tour. And this ties, which is really interesting, in that she, remember, had a Romanian orphanage thing going on, that she was accused of child trafficking, which is now very interesting in that from the mega church that she's partnering with, one of the people in there was caught with child sexual abuse and trafficking, allegedly, in these homes and shelters in Romania.
That's the pastor, Greg Laurie, was
his mega church. So it's not him based on the research that I'm doing. It is a particular pastor within his church that he leads.
A brother.
Yes.
Yeah, and then there's just more video popping up. Like, we knew she was on this show, we knew she was on that show, but now there's an amazing race audition video.
We don't need to watch 15 minutes of this, but it's
No. But I think, where's the smaller clip? Either way, I think it just shows her.
It was all a dream.
Yeah, this is her.
Hi.
Good morning, America.
I've lived in China. I've lived in Chongqing. I've been to Romania. I've been to Croatia.
This is their
lived
audition
in Puerto
tape,
Rico
right?
for a little bit. Really handsome.
You look gorgeous. Are you fixing my... I got a little bacon. Babe, that's deep in there. Give them a cleavage. People want cleavage.
Jesus. All right.
Showcase it. Sex sells, babe.
Sex sells. That's the part I wanted. Sex sells, baby.
Oh, yeah.
That's what she just said.
Well, I mean, look, I think she just wanted to be somebody, and she was finding ways to try to be somebody. Charlie Kirk allowed her to be.
Someone that I used to know. No, but
No, all the Christian value shit is absolute bullshit.
She is like a straight up, what's the show? Righteous Gemstones character.
Oh, yes.
She's straight out of that show. Man, HBO needs to pay me. I got Summer Heights High and now I'm going back in their catalog even. But honestly, she's like that. Is it Tammy Faye? Who's the pastor's wife? She's got that whole vibe going. And
You're talking about the Righteous Gemstones, or?
I don't know. I think that's Tammy Faye's the real version.
I don't know, but Righteous Gemstone is a hilarious show. I have to say.
It is. It's hilarious.
But in this context, not hilarious. I think, yes. So Erika Kirk, complete full of shit. I'm sorry for Charlie for, his situation, obviously.
I mean, yeah, he's dead. So,
not
great.
His wife, if not involved, is completely fine with it because now she just gets to assume the throne. She's now him. Like, that's the ultimate Game of Thrones play, right? That she's run over the past 10 years. She was working her way up, making deals with all kinds of different people, trying different avenues to take over, and now
Game of Thrones,
boom.
Another HBO mention.
Yeah.
No, 100%. And but she's doing all of these things that are against what Charlie Kirk wanted, right? Nicki Minaj, bringing her on. these pastors that are with child. She's, it's, if you thought TPUSA was dark before, it's, and the other thing is, if it was so dark before, I mean, why'd she get him out? Maybe he was keeping it from getting as,
he was, because he was trying to moderate all the positions. He was trying to keep the coalition together, a very wide tent coalition. And he himself, I think, had some principle. He was a principled, you can tell, even if you hate Charlie Kirk and some of the stuff that he said about like black people or whatever, he was a very principled man.
Yeah.
And principled men get killed. Okay, because he was going to, I mean, I think Israel is the biggest issue. I'm sorry to say, I hate pinning things on Israel all the time. You tell me, not everything is Israel. But in this case, it's a very large component of the TPUSA platform is to make sure that we have the strong alliance between evangelical Christians and the state of Israel.
100%.
And the ADL just came out and said, the Anti-Defamation League, they're saying that, and it's supposedly a Jewish civil rights group, they are co-writing Sunday school curriculum for evangelical churches across the country. Okay, there's a whole plan here. And so he wanted to, of course, keep it together, but he also saw the base, right? The base is turning. And so he's got to find a way to moderate this
I think he was also maybe learning from Candace and some of his other friends that were more just like I've learned from you, right? And then you learn something new and you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
And so then you go, wait, that is a genocide in Gaza. I'm not going to be blind to the issue. And I think he was having that awakening is what it seems like, right? But have you seen Myron Gaines, who I don't really know that well?
Well, he was amongst the crew.
But was he?
Yeah.
Well, I just saw a clip. He did a college debate, right?
Yeah.
He went on campus.
Yeah, I saw that.
And there was this like trans activist that was like, he said, I'm going to do this on behalf of Charlie Kirk. And she goes, fuck Charlie Kirk. He was a Nazi. And Myron Gaines has his hood on and he goes, Charlie Kirk was not a Nazi, but now you're stuck with me and I am. And I was like, fuck. Like, they got rid of Charlie Kirk. It ain't gonna, anyways, I think he was joking. I don't really know who he is, but I was like, damn.
I mean, I think he was joking there. Obviously, we don't support the Nazi
no,
party
of course
in
not.
any way. Just, I mean, somebody could clip you out of,
Myron Gaines said it, not me. Look,
but so I think there's something deeply, deeply sus about Erika Kirk. I just don't think that she's not going to be the person that's able to lead this coalition. I think it's eventually you can only keep the people down for so long. I think they're going to revolt on this. Nobody trusts her.
Oh, it's already happening.
No, nobody. Every time she does an interview, her public perception just dips even more. It just doesn't help the situation at all.
No, she's like Kamala Harris in the freaking interviews during the election.
Yeah.
It's getting worse and worse.
Yeah, every interview she does, she somehow
I grew up in a
worse.
middle-class family and da-da-da.
Yeah. There was a clip that I saw, I don't know if it's on here, where she's talking about, doing a fashion audition. Did you see that one?
Erika?
Yeah, fashion audition right here.
Let's just, here we go.
Here we go. Have you seen this clip? They're all coming up.
Oh, I did see
experiences in fashion. I did not go to fashion school, but I am self-taught. So I graduated with political science and international relations. And although that background to some might seem a little bit foreign to the fashion world, I think that it's actually very helpful because fashion is international and you have to understand people because the consumer is what's buying your product. And if you are able to create a line or a brand that embodies international aspects, whether that be art, architecture, anything that's different with the fabrics and the feel of the brand and the line, that draws people to it. And so for me, I'm looking at this from a pragmatic business standpoint. Although I don't know how to sew.
We don't have to play the whole thing here, but essentially, I think, who the fuck is this woman? Now she's talking about getting into the fashion industry and how she's going to be like a fashion mogul here. What's happening?
I mean, as someone who's had many different lives,
So this is
I've been in business, I've been in real estate, I've been an insurance broker.
Yeah, go to the top
I went
of
on a
this.
healing journey. I was a Reiki energy healer for a while. So I'm not one to speak on it. Sometimes in life you're trying to figure out your path. What do you love? What are you going to be great at? But all the places that she's gone around the world, her Russian orphanage at 17 years old, or Romanian. It's giving intelligence.
That's what this clip said.
Vibes.
If you go to the top of this clip, this is what it said.
Like, no one's looking at me putting my hands over somebody's body
clip.
and thinking,
I think you closed it. The same clip.
Oh, the same exact clip.
It's not the clip, but it's just the text of the clip. So it's just, so they're saying that all these things added together, if you go up, right? This is, like, she's saying she's very coachable. Like, is this some kind of grooming thing that's happening with intelligence? Right? Talking about self-taught, bloodlines of entrepreneurs, eclectic background, tomboy. I want to see, she said she was in Jordans, okay? She's like, I grew up wearing Jordans. Did that actually happen? I don't know.
Well, I'm sorry. Jordans are super expensive.
Well,
so what is she trying to say? I grew up wearing Jordans, so you were rich.
Well, tomboy, she's talking about her tomboy upbringing. And then she's like, I live a gypsy life, pack and go in 30 minutes, live out of a suitcase, empower women, blah, blah, blah.
I will say I also was a tomboy, and I don't want to have similarities with Erika Kirk. But, there was like the skater vibes when we were growing up, the skater shoes and like the sweatshirts. Never was a gypsy. Could not pack and go in 30 minutes and live out of a suitcase. That reeks spy.
Yeah. I don't know. So, we'll keep you updated on Erika.
Yes, thank you guys so much for being here. We'll be back on Monday, the 26th at same time.
Same time.
Oh, no, later.
Monday, the 26th, we will be on at 2 p.m. Pacific time.
Yes. And
thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We have, I think, some more updates by that time on Davos. We'll see if there's more developments. I know we somewhat disagreed on the Greenland thing, but
I think we disagreed.
Well, yeah, we disagreed on that front.
We'll see if it's Greenland parentheses USA or Greenland parentheses Denmark.
According to that cake, it looked pretty much USA on that cake.
Well, they always do these gestures of celebration, right? Like, no matter what, it's a win for the United States for what we wanted, so.
Yes. The thing is it the right thing to do? That is the question. If we look at it from the lens, win for the United States, but what does that really mean for the people of the United States, and also for the Greenlanders? It's like, oh yes, it's a win for Amazon. If you're Amazon shareholder, yes, but then you have to have people say, well, is the Amazon shareholder what we should care about in this situation, or is it the local community? We'll have to see.
I've already given my take on this issue, so if you didn't see, fast forward to the beginning or rewind to the beginning.
Thank you again to the Patreon members for helping support this show. We love you very, very much. And final word, always, to the
As always,
Dani.
We want to hear what you think about all of this down below, which is going to be criticizing me, and that's why I don't look at the comments anymore. So thank you. I will be off till Monday. Goodbye.